Come on. She's a girl with the best intentions. He's a man of his own invention.
Hello, and welcome to today's book talk. We're going to be talking about fairy tales that aren't your normal fairy tales, and this is why I've decided to wear the crown, because I'm gonna get in touch with my inner princess. So today we're going to talk about 4 books. They are Fables by Bill Willingham, Spindle's End by McKinley, Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and Princess Academy by Shannon Hale. Fables is a DC comic graphic novel series that's really interesting. All of your favorite fairy tale characters are living in our world. They're trying to hide from the evilness that has taken over their world. But the first one is kind of this murder mystery that keeps you on the edge of your seat, and the big bad wolf is the detective, and Snow White is kind of like the lawyer character. It's really fun. It's an excellent romp. The art is beautiful. The next book is Spindle's End by McKinley, and it's a long book, and it does take some time to get through, but it's worth it. The story is Sleeping Beauty, except for it's not the Sleeping Beauty you're really aware of, because she's quite the tomboy, and she's always trying something new, and she doesn't want to accept her new role as princess when that finally comes to happen. But she's really good with animals and talks with them all the time and that sort of thing. It's a fun and completely different take on this story that we all know. Like, she's not just this beautiful princess. She is very homely and tries to cut her eyelashes because they're too long. Anyway, but to give you a taste of that book and kind of McKinley's style, I've got a quote here for you, which is, "People forgot. It was in the nature of people to forget, to blur boundaries, to retell stories to come out the way they wanted them to come out, to remember things as how they ought to be instead of how they were." And so the book is filled with tiny bits of philosophy like that. The next book, which is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and this is a really popular book right now, and you should definitely pick it up. I mean, like, boys, girls, everyone should read this book. It's about cyborgs and this moon race people, the Lunars, and it kind of takes place in the Asian Commonwealth, which is actually an empire, but Cinderella is a cyborg. She's 36% robot, and she is just, like, kind of falls in love with the prince, the to-be emperor, but she is one heck of a badass. Like, she knows what she's doing. She likes cars, and she takes things apart, and she's like the best mechanic in the city. So when it all hits the fan at the ball, like it normally does in Cinderella, oh boy, is it good. And then there's a second book. It's going to be a series of 4 books, and the second book is Scarlet, which obviously plays under Little Red Riding Hood. But that's also a good book. But do pick up Cinder. And to give you a quote from that book, "Vanity is a factor, but it is more a question of control. It is easier to trick others into perceiving you as beautiful if you can convince yourself you are beautiful, but mirrors have an uncanny way of telling the truth." Just a hint on what the Lunars can do there. But you'll have to read more to know. And then the 4th book, which is The Princess Academy by Shannon Hale, and that is a good story for younger teenagers, because it's this girl who's kind of coming of age, and she's small, and so she doesn't get to work in the quarries, and she feels she's worthless, and she wants to find something to do with herself, which I think is a universal thing, that at one point in our lives we all feel that we're not as good as what everybody else is good at, but we're good at other things. And so she finds herself at the Princess Academy, since the prince has to come choose a a female from this area, to marry, and they all have to be trained. So, but she saves herself, and she finds she's really quite smart and diplomatic, and she has all these hidden talents that nobody ever knew of. But everybody knew she was got to be good at something, right? But it's really fun. It's really good. I was surprised by the ending. It did not end how I thought it was going to end at all. Like, this is not, like boy meets girl, girl meets boy, and they fall in love, or they hate each other and then they fall in love. Nope, nothing like that. So you'll have to read it to find out. But to give you a quick quote from that one, I keep thinking about a tale my nurse used to read to me about a bird whose wings are pinned to the ground. In the end, when he finally frees himself, he flies so high he becomes a star. My nurse said the story was about how we all have something that keeps us down. And so that's kind of, there you go, a sample. But hey, thank you for listening and watching today. But you should definitely pick up these books, especially if you're into like the fairy tales, princess, prince thing. They're fun reads and not your typical story either. So they keep it fresh fairy tales.